Dave Rennie has named his training squad for the Wallabies with France on the horizon. And yeah, it's 40 guys. He's kind of quick to point out this is not the Wallabies lineup. This is a training squad. I guess this is a chance for him to get a look at some players who he may want to have a closer look at and maybe give some guys areas to work on and whatnot. We've seen it done a fair bit a lot of the times, at least here in Australia. Well, here in New Zealand and Australia. I'm not in Australia. But yeah, it's a good chance for the coaches to give messages to the players that maybe they're not getting from their Super Rugby coaches, areas to work on, and yeah, just to get a look at the guys' attitudes and whatnot. So yeah, we'll have a quick look at the squad. There are some interesting omissions, but it's hard to be too worried if a guy's omitted because, yeah, it's just a training squad. But maybe a little bit concerning that some of the guys aren't quite on the radar. Anyway, for props, he's gone with Ala Alatoa, Bell, Fa'amusili, Slipper, and Tupou. So just the 5 props. Fa'amusili is the one who does not have any caps as yet, but based on his form, you can definitely see why the Rebels man has been included. He is a proper unit. He loves a big carry. Him and Tupou together on the same team would be pretty intimidating for any team they come up against. The notable omission there, I guess, is Scotty Seo, but Dave Rennie's mentioned, I think, that he wants to see a bit more from him. So maybe this is serving as a bit of a rocket for him to kind of get himself back into form. Bell's, going to benefit from a bit more experience. Slipper, Tupou, and Ala Alatoa are pretty much, veterans of the Wallaby scene at this point. Hookers, he's got 4, and 3 of them are uncapped. He's got Kaitu'u from the Force, Mafi from the Reds, Poreki from the Tars, and then Lockie Lonergan from the Brumbies. So yeah, 3 uncapped guys. No Brendan Paenga-Amosa, no Jordan Uelese, no Conal McInerney. Like a bunch of guys who've been, like McInerney was maybe a stretch squad member before anyway, but Falau Fainga is the one I probably should have mentioned first. Yeah, it's a big turnaround. Mafi's been in pretty good form for the Reds, and you'll see the squad, if you're reading it on the board, is largely made up of Reds and Brumbies guys. But yeah, Mafi's been in good form. Kaitu'u's been good for the Force. The Force only gets 3 guys in the squad, which is pretty minimal. Poreki seems like a bit of a reliable guy in a team which has been doing not all that good, but it's kind of interesting that Dave has, I don't want to say culled these experienced guys, because again, maybe he just wants to get a look at something different. Of the 3 newbies, how many will actually make a Wallaby squad? Maybe 1, maybe 2, but anyway, probably 1. We'll see. For locks, they've gone with Hosea, Neville, Salakaia-Loto, Swain, Timani, and Uru, although he's a bit of a lock, loose forward, likewise Salakaia-Loto. Neville and Swain are uncapped, likewise is Uru. It's good Hosea's in the squad because he's been pretty immense for the Rebels. He doesn't get talked about that much. Neville's getting on, but he's been consistent for the Brumbies. So, yeah, good to see him get called up. Tamani, I think, has only come back for that 1 game for the Force. So he's, I guess, a bit of a largely built on his reputational pick and experience. And Udu has been pretty dynamic, I'll admit it. Yeah, I can see why Dave wants to get a bit of a look at him as well. Lucy's, Anstey, Kemeny, McWright, Naisarani, Samu, Swinton, Valtini, and Wilson. Naisarani's not been playing because he's been injured. McCrate's been in the form of his life, which is great to see. Kemeny and Anstey are you guys who are also uncapped. I'm a little bit surprised to see no Hardwick in there, to be honest. And Fergus Lee Warner is my biggest one that I am... Like, do I watch a different game? Like, I did a whole video about why Lee Warner should maybe be in the squad ahead of Ned Hannigan last year, because it was my first time really seeing the guy play when the Force were, introduced back into Super Rugby AU. And I couldn't believe that he wasn't even worth a shout. I'm still a little bit flummoxed. In that video, I seem to remember the conclusion was Ned Hannigan does more work in the line-out, whereas Thrush does it more for the Force. But Lee Warner overall has a heck of a work rate. But yeah, he doesn't seem to be in. Maybe because Udu's made the squad, Lee Warner is not worth a look because it's kind of your lock loose forward guy, and going forward maybe Udu does a bit more. I don't know, I'll have to look at some stats. But yeah, Valtini, Swinton, Samu's been in good form apart from when he got smashed into touch the other day. So yeah, I guess because Hooper is overseas, he's not selected at the moment, but he'll be back once the Wallabies actually have a proper squad to name, and Liam Wright's injured, so it's only a training squad. It may look a little bit light on open sides, I guess, but as I said, there's no initial game coming up, so Dave will have his reasons. Halfbacks, you've got McDermott, Gordon, and White. Interestingly, the Gordon hasn't even been playing, but I guess, again, it's a training squad, so he just wants to have a weird look. Seems a bit bizarre to not give Powell a look in, given he's actually fit, but I guess that's also indicative of Dave's thinking, maybe long term. Lolesio, O'Connor, and Samoa are your three first fives or fly halves. Although remember, O'Connor and Samoa can also play 12 other positions as well. But it means there's no Will Harrison. I mean, how many guys do you play to pick 10? You probably either go Lolesio or you go Harrison. You probably pick one or the other. They might have been both in the squad last time, but the Tars have been getting hiding, so it's kind of hard to see how much effectiveness he's been having on the game, given they've had such few chances. But yeah, he spoiled for choice. Harrison, Lolesio, is it Lolesio or Lolesio? Tamura and O'Connor, they're all good choices, so that's one good area of depth for the Wallabies. Ikitau, Paisami, Hodge, Pitaya, Simone are your midfielders, potentially adding in Jock and Tamua there as well. Remember, Pitaya may end up playing in the outside backs. Ikitau is your uncapped guy. Kurandrani misses out, but he's not been in the form to get selected for the squad, to be honest. He's been busting a gut for the Force, but he's just, I don't know what it is. I'm reminiscent of watching like Julian Savia after 2015. Like, you could see him trying hard, but just the effectiveness wasn't quite there. I'm not saying he's bad, but just I can see why Dave would want to have a look at Ikitau. Paisami's been in the form of his life as well. And then outside backs, you got Banks, Daugunu, Korapete, Muirhead, Vunivalu, and Wright. I don't think Wright's been playing either, as he's been injured. Vunivalu's maybe a bit of one that will cause people a little bit of consternation because, you know, he's still very much adapting to the game. He's making some... well, he's not the finished article yet, but maybe Dave just sees that potential in him and wants to get him under the guidance of the Wallabies coaching staff as early as possible. But when there's other guys, I don't know, Jock Campbell, I know he's a fullback, but he's been playing pretty well, so people may be a bit burned that Campbell's out whereas Vunivalu's in. Anyway, I think it's, what they say, 14 Brumbies, 12 Reds. I did write it down. 7 Rebels, 4 Waratahs, and 3 Force guys. Like, if there's one Force guy, honestly, it's Fergus Lee Warner for mine. Why does he continue to miss out? I'm pretty disappointed from the Reds. Maybe Angus Blythe is worth a shout. He's been pretty good in the second row for the Reds. Interesting times. But anyway, like I said, and as Dave Rennie said, it's not his team to play France next week. It's not his squad for that purpose. It's a training squad. He'll have his things he wants to work on, seeds that he wants to plant in these guys' minds, and he just wants to get a look at them to see. Because he's really big. Dave Rennie's really big, and we saw it when he was at the Chiefs and when he was at Glasgow about like off the field stuff as well. So he'll want to make sure he's got the right personalities, the right mix, all in the same headspace. So yep, we'll see how things go. If you're a Wallabies fan, how happy are you with this initial look at maybe where Dave Rennie is going with his Wallabies squad? Do you look at this and go, this is a team that's going to compete with a pretty good French team, or you still don't know what kind of team those guys are going to send? Rugby Championship-wise, how would you back these guys to be going against the likes of the Springboks, All Blacks and Pumas? There's certainly a few young guys, which is encouraging as well, but such as Super Rugby AU, I feel like overall it's got a pretty young average age. That might be a topic for a video as well. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. A fair few debutants, potential. Uncapped guys, I'll say, not debutants. But anyway, you guys have any thoughts, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.